This video is connected to a mock test video that's just been shot. It's the second mock test video that Ike has done. So if you want a link to the video, I will put it up here so you can go directly to the full length. But if you want the analysis, that's what this video is all about. Oh, and this video is also the test result. He took his real test, so I'm going to put the test result at the end of this. It's just a little vlog so you can see what happened on the day of his test, and you'll get the result at the end. I'm also going to explain what I mean by examiner lifelines, because I think that's kind of important. In fact, let's do that right now. When I told him at the traffic lights to follow the road ahead, he went to signal to move to the right. And at the traffic lights, you're just going to follow the road ahead, yeah?
Oh, okay.
Remember, we're just going to follow the road ahead. Now, if he'd have moved into the right-hand lane, that could have been a problem. So it was a lifeline. There was also another lifeline where I said to him, are we in a hurry? Are we in a hurry?
No.
And again, I've sat in the back of tests and I've heard examiners do this. Like, are we in a hurry? Have we got to be somewhere when somebody's driving a little bit too quickly? And it just reminded him to maybe slow down a little bit. Again, it was his choice whether he did that, but it was a lifeline. Now, a lifeline is generally something that will be offered to you during a test. Again, it's your decision. It's what you do afterwards that counts. But if you heed the warning, pay attention to it because it might come up in your test. Overall, his mirror work was really good. Just past that.
Yeah.
Past the bus stop.
Yeah.
He had a pretty good progressive drive in places. He was accelerating quite well. I really liked his speed when he was entering a lot of these tight situations. So when he was entering roads where you had parked cars left and right and maintained a good speed throughout. He followed the road signs really well. He was aware of where he was going. There's one occasion where he wasn't quite sure what he was doing, but overall, his following of road signs was really good. His dealing of the roundabouts were really good. His approach, his mirrors, his signal. His positioning. I know they weren't large complex ones, but again, roundabouts in general can be a problem. People find them tricky. His lane discipline on the dual carriageway was good. He stuck to the left-hand lane, highlighting the things that I faulted him for. New road, new mirrors. This means as you've entered a new road, you should be checking your mirrors before you accelerate. Now, one particular one where I faulted him, straight after it, a car emerged from the left-hand side and he had to slow down, and he didn't do any mirrors for slow down. And then just continue to follow the signs to Mill Hill for a bit, okay?
Yep.
If he had done the new road, new mirrors as he entered the new road, that would have sufficed and he wouldn't have needed to do an extra mirror check for the car that pulled out on him. But it just goes to show you how important it is to be aware of what's going on behind you. If somebody had been tailgating him and he had to slow down quite sharply, that could then escalate into a serious fault. The stall, he tried to move off. He had a little stutter on the pedals just before that, so there was obviously something going on there. And then he stalled as he tried to move off. What can you do to fix that? Look, I mean, it happens. On a test, the chances of you stalling are really high, but his recovery was really good. That's exactly what you want to be doing if you stall on your test. Learn how to recover from a stall so that if you do stall, you can get out of the situation really quickly. There was one moment when he was going uphill and he slowed down, and it was just after this incident with the car that pulled out on him, and he was in the wrong gear and he stuttered, he controlled it, he changed gear and he drove on. So again, it was just a minor fault. What you need to do in this situation is if you're slowing down on a hill, one of the first things that you can do is pay attention to the sound of your engine. If the engine is quite low in sound, you get this sort of low hum, then chances are you may need to drop a gear. On the dual carriageway, he was unsure of what the speed limit was. He didn't know, and he said there were no signs. Where are you going?
Left, I don't know.
He thought that the dual carriageway was one of those 30-mile-an-hour speed limit dual carriageways. Because he hadn't seen the sign, he had no idea. The fix for this is really simple. Every time you enter a new road, you need to look to see if they've changed the speed limit sign. Now, if they have, there will be 2 signs, one either side of the road. And if you see 2 speed limit signs at the mouth of a junction, that is a change of speed limit. I faulted him for a normal driving position. This is when he was driving through a tight section of road, and I actually mention it at the very end as well. And it harks back to the previous mock test. Again, if you want to go see the previous mock test, follow the link up here and that will take you to the previous mock test, where he is coming around a blind corner and he's just positioned a little bit too far to the right. Yes, there's not much he can do. He's going past a parked car and he's kind of got to be in that position. But the warning sign is this: if you can't see around that bend, you've got to come back a little bit to the left so you can get a better view. And it's just that he didn't do that until the car came. That's why he picked up a minor fault. If he'd just moved a little bit to the left, that would have been absolutely fine. A little bit of undue hesitation when he was turning right. There was a car coming. There was a massive gap right here. It was just after he turned left and then he was turning right and there was a huge gap. He chose to wait. Again, minor fault. He could have gone. And you know what? Sometimes it's better to be a little bit hesitant than it is to jump straight in. So I would applaud him for that a little bit. Better that than jumping in when you can't go. He almost stopped on a pedestrian crossing. Got to be careful. I just put it as advisory in the test. But if he had come to a stop on that pedestrian crossing, that could even escalate into a serious fault. This comes down to reading the road. Is there enough space for me to fit the other side? If there isn't enough space, then he should be holding back just before it. If you're getting any value out of this video, hit that like button. It really does boost the channel, and it also spreads the message to anyone else out there that might be interested in this content. The parallel park where he got his serious fault. Is it possible that I could have given him a lifeline? Maybe. Is the examiner guaranteed to give you lifelines all the time? No. He had kind of got the car in. He was in space. He didn't have his wheels straight. He just needed to straighten his wheels. If you're in behind the vehicle, why continue? Just get your wheels straight and be done. However, he struggled on the slope. Now, this was something we went away and worked on afterwards anyway, so we went and did some reversing on hills. But when you're reversing on a hill, you've got to think about your brake pedal. If you look at his feet in this particular maneuver, he wasn't really ready to use his foot brake, and yet he's on a slope. The fix to that is really simple. Get your foot over that foot brake. If that clutch goes down, be ready to use your foot brake so that if the car rolls forwards, you've got it under control. Because he rolled all the way forwards and bumped into the curb, that's why I gave him a serious fault for that. It was the how far he traveled in that roll and then bumping into the curb. If you're reversing backwards and you just kiss the curb, you can get away with that. It's not a problem. As long as you're not trying to drive up the curb, just touching the curb, it's fine. It was the combination of those two things. The other thing that he did is he also traveled really too far backwards. You're only allowed to use 2 car lengths of space, which means only 1 car length of space between you and the car in front. That would also have been a serious fault. Coasting. This is not something that he was doing on the first test, but he said at the end of the test, he was just trying something out. Coasting is bad because you have the possibility that you could lose control of your car. If you're traveling downhill at speed, round corners, it can be really dangerous. So it's really important to learn how to drive without coasting and learn how to brake without a clutch. Right at the end of the test, he went to reverse. Now, if you watch him, he pulls in. The moment he's pulled in, he looks straight down at the gear to stick it in reverse. And as he does that, a car's coming up behind him, beeps him, warns him of their presence. Don't look down, maybe have a little look around, then stick it in reverse and think about your actions. You only have 1 reversing maneuver to do on your test, and that's it. And if you do any more and something goes wrong, it doesn't matter whether you are in the bay or not. Just pull up, finish the test, get it done. The last thing that you want to be doing is any extra reversing. So anyway, that is the end of this. That's this analysis video. So if you like what you've seen here, hit that like button, subscribe, and then you'll know when the next video is coming out. And in the meantime, I'll see you in the next one.
The important day is Wednesday.
The important day is Wednesday. We're up at Hendon. Today is the day. It is Ike's test. He wanted me to drive up here, which is why I'm sitting in the driver's seat. So what we're going to do is...
Over the lights here.
Yeah, go over everything you want. Right? So we get to find out now. He's back. The DVSA is saving money now on A4 paper. Yeah, go. Thank you very much. So you want to show everyone what your result is? Well done, man.
Yeah.
So you've got a little bit of your breakfast down here.
Yeah,
Well done, man. You passed as well?
Yeah. Thank you.
Amazing. All right, let's jump in. You're saying you should have failed. What do you reckon? You think you should have failed? Have you got any advice for anybody that's about to be going to their test?
You just got to stay in the game, because like when I was doing it, I thought that like you overthink things, so you do things wrong. If you have a bad start, you just stay in it, and then you always think you're going to fail, but then at the end it might change. Or yeah.
Really happy for him. He deserves it, and onwards and upwards, and yeah. Well, anyway, we'll see you in the next one. Yeah. Well, I will anyway. You won't see him unless he wants to do a video about a month after he's like, you know, got his driving license, and we'll see.
Liabilities on the road.
We'll see how he drives then. Anyway, thanks for watching. Get well out.